Hello and welcome back to my channel, Dr. Magnesium, with myself, Dr. Lee Keegan. First thing I'd like to say today is just thank you to everybody who subscribed to me over the last week or so. It's been phenomenal. I've gone from under 100, I think I was at 40 subscribers this time last week, and I'm now on 1800 or over 1800. So it's been an absolutely fantastic response to my channel in a short time. So we've only been going about 5 weeks. So we're doing well. We're getting the message out there, which is the important thing, which is what we want to do. We want to make the world a healthier place and a better place to live in. So thank you very much for that. Keep sharing away. If you like the channel, make sure people are aware of it. Get the message out there and let's get everybody healthier. So that's out the way. Thank you very much for that. So today we're going to be looking again at UPFs. So this channel was set up by myself in order to battle addiction, to look at addiction and to try and break that cycle of addiction. And many people don't think of ultra-processed food as an addiction, but it really is. It's as addictive as any other drug. It is a drug. It's a toxin that's put into foods by chemical companies. It's designed to reward centers. It's not just designed that way. Billions and billions of pounds or dollars are spent each year making sure that people are rewarded with this food, making sure that people feel like it rewards them, to try and build that addiction to the food. And the reason that the companies do this is to generate profits for themselves. In doing this, it makes us unhealthier, as we've gone through all this on previous videos, and if you want to have a look at them, look back at them. But we know the reasons why it makes us unhealthy, and now we need to know how to break that chain and how to stop eating this food. So as I say, it's a hundreds of billions of dollar industry, this industry, and there's a lot of psychology goes into it, into building up a dependence, into building up this reward and pleasure kind of cycle. So what in previous videos I have looked at for not UPF, for addiction, I've looked at a technique called the AVRT, or the Addictive Voice Recognition Technique. And it's a technique that's used very successfully, I should say, in drug and alcohol addiction. And it's something that could easily be applied to ultra-processed foods as well. What we need to do is we need to recognize that the kind of drive to eat ultra-processed foods, although generated by the body because of these reward pathways, the actual drive and the decision to put that food in your mouth is your decision. It's not anybody making you do it. Nobody's picking up that fork for you. Nobody's opening the packets for you. It's yourself that is doing it. So the first key is to remember that this is you doing this. The voice inside that's telling you to eat this is you. It's you, but it's also a part of you that you can control, and you can take away that part of yourself by recognizing that it's the same part of yourself that wants to drink, want to take drugs, want to do irresponsible behaviors, risk-seeking behaviors. It's that kind of part of your deep primal instinct that wants to create pleasure. Basically, it's coming from that same area within the brain. And we have a frontal regulation of that, which tells us not to do things, which tells us not to drive once we've drank, tells us to reduce the amount of alcohol that we drink, tells us not to cheat on our partners, tells us not to steal things, not to break the law. That's the kind of frontal regulation of the limbic system. We've gone through this before in previous videos, so feel free to go back and look through. And the way that we can deal with this is the same way that we've dealt with it in our alcohol videos. We can make that recognize as the first thing. So once we've recognized that it's not us, it's this deep primal part of our brain that's telling us to reward itself. It wants reward, it wants to feed itself that kind of pleasure. Once we disassociate that from our everyday self and realize that's not actually us, we don't want to do that, then we can find ways to kind of negate that damage that it's doing to us. And the way that we do this with alcohol is to look at a pleasure box and a pain list. So if we make that pain list first, and we look at all the negative impacts, all the pain that drinking has caused us. But the same for UPFs, or ultra-processed foods, and not just for us, for our children, because we're feeding this into our children. Every day, 70% of children's diet comes from UPFs in this country. That's phenomenal amount of rubbish that we're putting in our kids' mouths. Not just rubbish though, poison. We're looking at the first generation of kids who are going to die before the parents because of the crap that we're feeding them. This is not an issue to take lightly. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is fact. We're poisoning our kids. We're making our kids unhealthy, and we're ultimately killing them with kindness. And that's the thing to put on your pain list. That's the first thing that I put on my pain list if you're a parent. We are eating this rubbish, we're putting this rubbish in our body, but we're also putting it in our kids' body. We're causing our kids harm by eating this rubbish, this fast food, this comfort food, this pre-prepared foods. And whether there's cost implications or whether it's irrelevant, the priority is the health of your children. That should be your priority, and that should be the first, certainly first on my pain list. The fact that eating this food or giving this food to my family causes harm. Eating this food causes me harm. It's likely to make me have a higher risk of getting diabetes, make me obese, make me have a poor self-image, make my cardiovascular risk factor, so I'll be more chance of getting a heart attack, more chance of getting strokes, more chance of losing limbs, having renal failure, more chance of going blind, having ulcers, being unhealthy, unfit, unable to play with me children, unable to witness me grandchildren being born. These are all things that need to be on the pain list. Eating this food does not come without consequences. There's mental health consequences with the sugar spikes and the following depression and anxiety related to it, the dementias that are related to it, the cancers. These foods are toxins, they're harmful, they're not good for us, and that should be the first or the second thing on the pain list if you put the fact that you're harming your children on. So my pain list would be, I'm feeding this rubbish to my children, I'm feeding it to myself, I'm making myself unhealthy, I'm making my children unhealthy. I'd be unfit, obese, overweight. I'm talking about me personally. Before I've lost 20 kilograms now from not eating UPF. So for me, I'm not as unhealthy as I was. I'm more active. For example, I took my daughter out yesterday and we were learning to ride a bike. I was sprinting up and down a road, holding the back of the seat. That would have been an issue for me few months ago, 6 months ago maybe. I used to struggle to bend over to tie my shoes. That was an issue, never mind sprinting up and down, even though I was exercising, by the way. But never mind running up and down a hill with my daughter on a bike. These are big, for me, big negatives, and hopefully the big negatives for you. So there's your pain. Whatever pain is related to you to these food, whether it's guilt associated with it, health associations, anything, mental health, depression, whatever issues that you've had with this food, that's your pain list. You make that, you say, this is my pain list. This is what causes me issues. This is what's ruining my life. Then you make your pleasure box, okay? So you say, every time you feel like eating that food, you say, this is the pain that this causes me. This is the harm it's doing to my body. Every time you want to open a tube that you can't stop once you pop, or whatever it is, or passing a sweet shop or whatever your favourite comfort food is, every time you open one of them frozen meals, think about what you're doing to yourself, think about what you're doing to your children. There's your pain list. So then your pleasure box, again, we're using this from the alcohol videos and from the AVRT technique. Your pleasure box then is that if I stop eating this food, if I eat healthier, I'll lose weight, I'll be fitter, I'll be more present for my children, I'll be healthier, I'll be less likely to die early, to get cancers, I'll be there for my grandchildren, I'll be there to help. Maybe you're thinking, when my older children have kids, have grandkids, I'll be able to look after them, I will be able to run around after them, I'll be able to help with childcare, to reduce costs for my kids. Whatever it is, whatever your pleasure box, just the fact that you can see your knees again, your feet again, the fact that you're losing weight, you're healthier, you're getting in the gym, you're being able to play a sport you used to like, all these can go in your pleasure box. So you've got your pain list and you've got your pleasure box. And this whole video is about breaking addiction. We need to treat ultra processed foods the same way we do any other drug, and to get off drugs we need to use this technique. We need to put a pain list together and a pleasure box, and I've given you a lot to think about. It's a bit longer than me normal videos, this, but I think this is the tack that we're going to take. This is the approach we're going to be taking to ultra processed food from now on. We've given knowledge, so we've told you what the ultra processed food are. We've told you how to define ultra processed foods. We've told you why companies use ultra processed foods or make ultra processed foods. We've told you why you want to eat them, the reasons for wanting to eat them, the pleasure associated with that. Obviously there's cost implications as well. The cheaper you can feed a family for more, but there's also the health implications to balance against them cost implications. We've also told you how to avoid them. We've give you tips on how to avoid them. I've given you a case study of myself, the weight I've lost, and now we're going to look at breaking that chain, breaking that cycle, getting a life away from UPFs, making ourselves healthier. Let's make the whole of society healthy. Let's get these toxins out of our diet, and let's start. Eventually we want to start putting pressure on the government. We want to take this message to the government and stop the government allowing our kids to be fed this rubbish in schools, stopping pharmaceutical companies and chemical companies from putting this rubbish into our food. That's the ultimate aim. We want to put pressure on the government. We want a world in which we can break free from this. We don't want our children to die before us, because we want to improve our health. We want to improve our children's health. Again, as I say, thank you very much. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of subscribers I've had over the last week or so. I think it's absolutely brilliant that we're getting our message out there. I'd like to continue to get my message out there. I'd like to make us all healthier as a race of people, as a population. So if you like these videos, please continue to subscribe, continue to share to get the message out there, and just stay with us for updates. We'll keep going, we'll keep plugging away, and we'll keep making these videos. Any specific questions that you have for us, just mention in the comments. I'm happy to read through the comments and to answer. I have a Facebook channel. I speak to people on Facebook quite regularly. I'm interacting on UPF Facebook sites. I've got my TikTok, which I'm not too good at the moment, but yeah, there's other ways to contact me as well. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.